Hello everyone. Today, we need to dive into something that has been generating a lot of buzz in the EV world, especially among NIO followers. Rumors have been spreading like wildfire that the latest NIO ES8 has already gathered more than 100K refundable deposits or pre-orders. What makes this especially intriguing is that NIO itself hasn't outright denied it. Instead, their response left a lot of room for interpretation, and that has investors, customers, and EV enthusiasts talking. But before we get into the heart of those pre-order rumors, let's first take a closer look at some important delivery and registration numbers from last week, because they help set the stage for everything else that's happening. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research. So here's the situation. NIO logged 6,160 insurance registrations last week. That figure is about 120 fewer than the week before, but honestly, that's still a fairly solid performance given the circumstances. If we compare these numbers with some of NIO's closest competitors, like XPeng and Li Auto, you'll notice that both those brands managed to edge slightly ahead of NIO during this same period. What's particularly surprising here is how well the Li Auto i8 is performing. Many analysts, myself included, expected the ONVO L90 to completely overshadow the i8 once deliveries really got rolling. But to everyone's surprise, the i8 is actually holding its ground and even doing better than expected. That doesn't mean the ONVO L90 is struggling, though far from it. People are clearly taking delivery of the L90, and that's a great sign. But it does mean Li Auto isn't backing down easily. Now, if we turn our attention to Firefly, things look a bit different. The main reason for the drop in their numbers seems to be related to the ONVO L60. Customers know a refreshed 2025 version of the L60 is just days away. So many are putting off their purchases until the updated model arrives. And really, who can blame them? The upcoming version will reportedly include more features at roughly the same price, so waiting makes perfect sense. That's why the L60 only delivered around 500 units last week. Personally, I wouldn't read too much into that. It's less about demand drying up and more about customers holding back until the new version is in showrooms. Now let's get into the big story, the rumor that NIO has racked up over 100K refundable pre-orders for the new ES8. This number has been circulating online, and NIO finally addressed it on their official Weibo account. Their statement was interesting. They explained that the company never publicly discloses the total number of pre-orders. In fact, according to them, only a handful of top executives within NIO even know the exact figure. That means the 100K number might not be entirely accurate. But here's the thing. From what sales representatives at different showrooms have been saying, the situation is impressive regardless. Many reps claim that each store is averaging around 300 ES8 pre-orders. And keep in mind NIO has a lot of stores across China. If you start adding up 300 per store, the math starts getting pretty wild, and it makes the 100K figure seem much less far-fetched. Some locations have even reported higher than average numbers, which adds more weight to the speculation. Another part of the rumor is that NIO expects an incredible 90% conversion rate, that is, 90% of people who placed a refundable deposit will actually go through with a final purchase. That's where management had to step in and set expectations straight. They said that kind of conversion rate is simply not realistic, because no brand in the industry achieves numbers that high. Still, even if we cut the estimate in half and assume only 50% of deposits convert into real purchases, that would still leave NIO with around 50K firm orders, and that's a massive number in its own right. If NIO has to deliver 50K ES8s starting in October, November, and December, we're talking about production of at least 15K units per month just to keep up. That would be an ambitious pace, but it also shows that demand for the ES8 is not something NIO needs to worry about right now. There's another small but noteworthy update worth mentioning. A few owners of the ONVO L90 have reported minor cracking in the rear taillights. At this stage, it doesn't look like something that would trigger a recall, but it's still something to keep an eye on. Most likely, it's a batch issue that can be easily fixed during a repair visit. And honestly, it's not unusual for the first batches of new vehicles to experience some quality hiccups here and there. This doesn't appear to be anything major or alarming, but it's worth noting. Meanwhile, ONVO is continuing to get creative with its marketing campaigns. One recent example involved setting up vehicles in front of high-traffic locations like major shopping centers and even IKEA. They ran interactive promotions where people could try stuffing plush toys into the massive front trunk of the car. If participants managed to fit enough plushies within a set time limit, they would win prizes. Not only is this a fun, engaging activity, but it also highlights one of the car's unique selling points, the huge storage space in the front. Clever marketing like this helps build brand awareness while letting potential customers experience features firsthand. Another piece of evidence that interest in the ES8 is off the charts is the sheer demand for test drives. NIO has been running 30-minute test drive sessions that are fully booked around the clock, often until late at night, sometimes as late as 1 a.m. And get this, test drive appointments are already booked solid for 2 weeks in advance. That kind of demand is rare, even for popular new models. If you're already a pre-order customer, though, NIO does its best to accommodate you and make sure you can test drive the ES8 sooner rather than later. That kind of priority treatment makes sense and shows that NIO wants to keep deposit holders engaged and satisfied until their cars arrive. Now, you may have noticed that insurance registrations dipped slightly last week, and some people might interpret that as a negative. But I don't think it's cause for concern. Here's why. I suspect NIO is deliberately holding back on deliveries right now in order to push more sales into Q4. Remember, Q4 is when they'll want to show profitability and strong financial performance. By timing deliveries strategically, they can make their year-end numbers look much stronger. Officially, both NIO and ONVO have said they won't introduce extra incentives before the end of the year. But personally, I think we'll see some attractive offers come October and November, particularly on models like the ES6 and ES7, to boost deliveries before the year closes. On the stock market side, NIO's share price recently jumped to about $6.70, breaking out of a bullish flag pattern. That kind of move often triggers buy signals for short-term traders. Right now, the key technical hurdle is breaking above a long-standing downward trend line. If NIO manages to push past that resistance, it could set off another wave of buying momentum. The real game changer, though, would be a break above $7.70 per share. That level marks the previous rebound high. If the stock clears it, then we'd likely see a full reversal of the bearish trend, which could attract a lot of new buyers sitting on the sidelines. At this point, the stock looks like it's in a promising position to make that move if NIO continues executing well on deliveries and new launches. We don't have to wait long for the next big milestone either. NIO Day is right around the corner, and that's when customers can start taking deliveries of the ES8 directly at delivery centers. Having the cars available right after the big showcase event is going to be huge for building excitement and driving momentum into Q4. So to wrap this all up, NIO's weekly insurance registrations dipped slightly, but the overall delivery pace is still stable. Li Auto's i8 is outperforming expectations, while some customers are holding off on ONVO L60 purchases until the 2025 update arrives. The ONVO L90 is moving well, though a few minor quality issues have popped up. The rumor of 100K ES8 pre-orders is unconfirmed, but store-level reports suggest demand is very real. Even at a conservative conversion rate, NIO could be looking at tens of thousands of firm orders. Marketing and test drives for the ES8 are seeing massive engagement, with test drives fully booked out for weeks. NIO may be intentionally managing deliveries to build up a stronger Q4 performance. On the stock side, price action is looking bullish, with major upside potential if resistance levels break. Overall, demand is strong, interest in the ES8 is at record highs, and the stock seems to be setting up for a solid rebound. So what do you think? Do you believe the 100K pre-order rumor, or do you think the number is being exaggerated? And what's your take on NIO's strategy heading into the final quarter of the year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more stock predictions and market insights. Remember to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Happy investing, and see you in the next video.